Sapporo, Japan. One runner after another staggered to a stop and collapsed in the soupy air of Sapporo in Sunday's Olympic men's marathon. 30 men in the field of 106 didn't finish. Ben Preisner was the top Canadian in Sunday's men's marathon, finishing 46th in his games debut. The 25-year-old from Milton, Ont, who crossed in 2 hours 19 minutes 27 seconds, said when the race got tough, he thought about his Canadian teammates, particularly fellow marathoners Trevor Hoffbauer and Cam Levins, and of the courageous runs by the Canadian women in their marathon a day earlier. They were super inspiring. Melindy Elmore, who was 9th, and Natasha Wodak, 13th, absolutely smashed it. And Dana Pidhareski, who finished despite an injury, showed how much determination she had. So, I just knew if Dana could stick it out there with all that determination, I can do the same. And I owe it to the country and my competitors to just give it my all. Hoffbauer, from Calgary, finished 2 spots back in 2 minutes 19 seconds and 57 milliseconds. Canadian record holder Levins, of Black Creek, BC, hung with the lead group through the first half of the race, but faded over the final 10 kilometers to finish 72nd in 2 minutes 28 seconds and 43 milliseconds. I really wanted to finish out of respect for a guy like Tristan Woodfine, who qualified but wasn't selected for the team, said Levins. I felt like it was only right to finish this race, and only 3 of us got to go. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of what motivated me to stay in. It's hard to call yourself an Olympic athlete if you can't even finish the race. So, wanting to do my best to get through it no matter how slow or tough the second half was. Marathon legend Eliud Kipchoge of Kenya, the defending champion and world record holder, pulled away over the final 10 kilometers to win gold in 2 minutes 8 seconds and 38 milliseconds. Abdi Najai of the Netherlands finished 80 seconds back, while Bashir Abdi of Belgium claimed the bronze. Down the home stretch, the 36-year-old Kipchoge held up 2 fingers for his back-to-back titles. King, one of his fellow racers, said as he walked by. The marathons and racewalk events were moved 800 kilometers north to Sapporo to avoid the smothering heat and humidity of Tokyo. But the weather still proved costly, evident in the runners who didn't make it to Sunday's finish line in 29°C heat. The humidity was 81%. Vaccinated CFL fans fill the stands in Winnipeg, bringing the vaccine closer to the community. It's exciting and inspiring to watch them, says Ruby Grundner. Most people will still likely wear masks after Tuesday's rule change. Fitzgerald says the Atlantic puffins on Machias Seal Island have been visited by a lot of locals this year because of the pandemic. War in Afghanistan has entered a deadlier phase. UN envoy says Quebec to require vaccine passport for non-essential service. Aggressive wildfire at BC's White Rock Lake jumps highway. Burns homes. Aggressive BC wildfire burns homes as people flee fierce winds. Fan rampaging wildfires in Greece. The Atlantic puffins on Machias Seal Island have been visited by a lot of locals this year because of the pandemic. Aggressive wildfire priority for BC firefighters. Canadian women's soccer team inspiring young athletes. Canadian Damien Warner's road to Olympic glory probe finds nursing home unprepared for COVID-19 outbreak. Canada explores mandatory vaccinations for federal workers. Industries. It's kind of deceiving. There was a lot of cloud cover for the race, so it seemed like it was going to be a bit cooler, Levins said. But still, the humidity didn't care about cloud cover or sun. You dried out really quickly from any water and ice that you put on yourself. Times were predictably slow in a tactical race of survival. Levins' Canadian record, by comparison, is 2 minutes 9 seconds and 25 milliseconds. The qualifying standard was 2 minutes 11 seconds and 30 milliseconds. As he started to fade, Levins said his legs were Charlie horsing all over. I went after it today. I wanted to see if I can run with the best there, and it wasn't my day, said Levins, who ran the 5,000 and 10,000 meters at the 2012 London Olympics. I think my first half was 65 minutes, and 83 in the second half, he added. It was a really, really tough second half. I was just trying not to hurt myself basically, as I finished. But I went after it. And I certainly don't regret trying. Hoffbauer, who clinched his Tokyo berth back at the Scotiabank Toronto Waterfront Marathon in October of 2019, said he'll use Tokyo as motivation. It adds some fuel to the fire, he said. We've got 3 years to Paris, 2024 Olympics, to make some noise, get back to work, and we'll be back in 3 years, ready to go. We'll be stronger than we are now. All three acknowledge the depth of Canadian marathoners, and making national teams for major events such as next summer's World Championships in Eugene, Oregon, or the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, England, will be no easy feat. 5 Canadian women and 4 men qualified for the Tokyo Olympics, but only 3 spots were available for each. Led by André de Grasse's triple medal performance, Canada's track and field team climbed the medal podium 6 times. 2 golds, 1 silver, and 3 bronze, in Tokyo, matching the 6 medals won in 2016 in Rio. Olympic decathlon champion Damian Warner was selected to carry Canada's flag in the Tokyo closing ceremonies on Sunday. While no fans were permitted at events in Tokyo due to the state of emergency amid rising COVID-19 cases, Japanese spectators lined the marathon course in Sapporo, ringing bells and waving flags. The fans on the course never stopped clapping. Every single person that I ran by clapped for me, and that just goes to show how respectful they are, Preisner said. There's obviously a lot of risk having all these athletes come in from around the world into their country, but they're still out there cheering us on and it really meant a lot. I even threw down one of my Canada hats right near one of the kids, and she just went wild. That experience is something that I'll definitely remember, just how excited they were. And if there was anything we could bring, any sort of positive experience to them as well, I hope we were able to. By Laurie Ewing in Tokyo. This report by the Canadian Press was first published August 8, 2021. The Canadian Press.